Recording in progress.
Welcome to our October Fire District Board meeting. You can view this meeting via Zoom or in person. Call to orders, ORS 192.610 to 192.690. ORS 192.650. The meeting is being recorded and will be loaded up on our webpage. Invocation tonight will be by Bill Youngberg.
Thank you. Great to be here with you again. The invocation tonight is going to include some scripture reading. Let me just read it and we'll talk just briefly. It's out of Romans chapter 12. It says, hate what is evil, cling to what is good, be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Honor one another above yourselves, never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with God's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Mourn with those who mourn. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. Do not be conceited. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everybody. And here's the part that I like and I hate. It says, if it's possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Do not take revenge, my friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, it is mine to avenge. I will repay, says the Lord. I don't say that because you need to hear that especially, but it's always a good reminder, I think, of how we're expected to live our lives. Well, let's pray. God, we just humbly bow before you right now, and we thank you, God, for your goodness and your grace and for your mercies. We thank you, God, that you allowed us to live in this wonderful place, and you've given us so much more than so much of the world. So God, we often take that for granted. But tonight, I just pray for wisdom for this group, for the guys and the ladies in this room, for the families that are represented. I pray, God, that you would draw them close and keep them safe and healthy. And God, for safety for the crews as they're out on calls, just be with them all and keep them safe and healthy. God, we thank you and pray to you tonight in Jesus' name. Amen. Thanks, guys.
Flag salute. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
here. Director Oliver,
Here.
Director McAdoo, present. Director Silva,
Here.
and Director Miller is present. Any changes to the agenda? We've got one, Superintendent Ryan Carpenter from the school district is here and wants a little bit of time. So we'll put him in first thing right before Chief Alto. Anybody got a problem with that? Okay. Business items, consent agenda, accept and approve the September 21st, 2023 meeting minutes and approve the bills to be paid as presented.
All motion to approve the consent agenda.
Director Day makes a motion to approve.
I will second.
Director Silva, this is second. Call for the vote. Director Oliver,
Yes.
Director McAdoo. Yes. Director Day,
Yes.
Director Silva,
Yes.
and Director Miller is a yes. Mr. Carpenter, you're up.
Thank you. I only need about an hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
So
You want the podium up there?
no, this is great.
Okay.
Would you pass these? Well, Board of Directors, I just want to say thank you for allowing me the opportunity on behalf of the school district. It's a pleasure to be here this evening to speak with you. It's also a pleasure to be your partner. I think over the course of the years, this is my 5th year serving as superintendent for Estacada Schools. It's my 14th year in the district, and in my 14-year experience here, it's been a pleasure to have such a strong partnership between the school district and the Estacada Fire Department. I feel like in my time, we've always been able to depend on each other in those moments of needs, and I hope that that can continue. Our relationship has been great. It's been a pleasure to build a relationship as we merge from Estacada Fire to Clackamas Fire and back to Estacada Fire again. And I commend you for keeping our local values as a part of our process and as a part of who we are as a community. I'm here tonight because a bond is something that is near and dear to both of our hearts. I know that the Estacada Fire Department is also, eyeing different financial ways to improve its fire systems and improve its facilities. No different are we in trying to improve our facilities to support today's kids. When we talk about bonds, I know that I'm in friendly company because we know how tax sensitive our community is, and we are aware of the mission, vision, and values of our communities. And it's so important that both the fire department and the school district represents who Estacada is as a community, and we're very proud to honor that. That being said, I wanted to share with the board tonight a package that the Estacada School District is considering for a facilities bond upgrade package. And a couple things that I wanted to point out is since 2006, I don't know if you knew this or not, but since 2006, the Estacada city limits have grown 97%. We've nearly doubled in the last 8 years. You're feeling this stretch from a fire deployment and fire resources. We're feeling the same thing when it comes to our schools. The majority of families who are moving into our school district are really first-time families purchasing their first-time homes in the new neighborhoods. And that means we're experiencing a big boom right now, kindergarten through 5th grade. At Rivermill Elementary School, we just placed our 3rd portable, a 6th additional classroom to host a 5th grade class this year that was larger than we had expected. We had to hire an emergency 5th grade teacher, and we just placed this portable on the ground about a week ago to accommodate the growth. We are literally out of capacity at Rivermill Elementary School and Clackamas River Elementary School. We have 1 classroom left at Estacada Middle School, and Estacada High School has plenty of capacity, but there's some room and opportunities for that too. So we've had 6 different committees that consist of very diverse groups of people throughout our community: Eagle Creek parents, grandparents, business owners, etc. And this plan that I share with you today is a plan that we believe meets the needs of our stakeholders. And what I mean by that is the majority of the people who are talking to us about a bond, even though they're not excited about it or doing cartwheels about it, what they are saying is, if we're going to do this, let's do this one time and let's take care of it for the next 30 years. The community has been very clear that they do not want us to come back every 2 years, every 5 years to keep nickel and diming the bond projection, like you would see in Westland, Wilsonville, or the North Clackamas School District, where every 2 or 3 years they're coming back at their community with more. Our community is telling us that while it's lukewarm in terms of support for this bond, that if we're going to do it, let's do it all and let's do it once. So what I mean by all at once is all updating and upgrading our aging facilities. Estacada High School was brand new in 1965. 1962 was its first class. The middle school is 1928, and both Rivermill is 1967 or 68, and the elementary school is 2000, which is our newest. So what I wanted to just very briefly share with you tonight is the breakdown of our proposition that the district and its board is considering going public with. And that is a $149 million bond over 30 years. So that sounds and is realistically a lot of money in a 30-year mortgage is a way to look at this. Inside this $149 million, we have budgeted $114 million for a brand new Estacada High School. Now, I want to be clear about what brand new means to us. We've been told very clearly that this brand new high school needs to be humble, needs to be efficient, and needs to be practical. And so when I talk about a $114 million high school, I'm talking about a 120,000 square foot rectangle that is 2 stories high. Okay, we want it to be efficient and we want to capitalize on its space. And in order to be cost sensitive, the cheapest way we can build this new high school is actually on the existing footprint of half of the current high school that exists today. And so if you went to Estacada High School, or you can imagine Estacada High School as you walk into the main door where the commons and pit is, that left side of the high school, not the pit, but the left side of the pit, where the cafeteria, English and math hallways are, and the band and choir hallways are, that would be the footprint of where the new high school would proceed to go. The reasoning for that is because we already have the utilities there, the space is already in that spot, and so we don't need to break ground on a new property, we don't have to move its utilities, which should save us millions of dollars in that process. $8 million, so let's assume that we're successful and we were to build this 120,000 square foot box. And by the way, when I say that, the new Milwaukee High School, which just got built 2 years ago, is 120,000 square feet, and that holds about 1,100 kids. Today, we're 590 kids. So that addresses our aging facilities with new, competitive, up-to-date facilities for today's kids, while still allowing us room to expand over the course of the next 30 years. $8 million would be set aside to renovate the other half of the high school that would be still remaining in its place. And after we complete that $8 million rejuvenation of what remains of Estacada High School, that would be the new home for our 7th and 8th graders. Our parents have made it very clear, we've been a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade middle school for 8 years now, and our parents have made it very clear that they prefer their 6th grade children to remain at the elementary levels. And so while trying to accommodate our parents' voices, this is an opportunity for us to move our 7th and 8th graders to the new junior high school, which would be the existing Estacada High School. And that would ultimately allow what's currently the beautiful middle school, that beautiful brick building, would become the new place of a 3rd additional elementary school. And ultimately, that's what our greatest need is an additional elementary school. And so this would be the new home, and that would either be a K-6 elementary school, or maybe Clackamas River and River Mill is kindergarten through 3rd grade, and the current middle school would be 4th grade through 6th grade as kids feed into that department. That would be a committee decision and a community decision. It's not necessarily in the weeds that we want to get to today. We did earmark $1 million to retrofit that. And what does that $1 million look like? It would be transforming lockers into cubbies, moving the bathroom stalls from this height down to this height to accommodate that specific age group as they were inside of those pieces. $12 million of the $149 million is really designed to upgrades of essential repairs and safety. So I'm talking about safe, warm, and dry here. So this would be new wiring, new pipes, new electrical outlets, more plugins in the classrooms to accommodate today's technology, LED lighting to be more cost efficient, windows, etc. $4 million would support a climate controlled classroom. There's a brand new study that came out 2 months ago that says for every degree over 75 degrees in a classroom correlates to a 1% test decrease on state and national testing. And so as we think about how hot our classrooms are in the fall and in the springtime, that is having a direct correlation to our overall student achievement. And so this is a great opportunity for us to make sure that each classroom is climate controlled to allow our students to have high opportunities for achievement and high results. The last $10 million is earmarked ultimately for community use space. As you know, because you all live here and love Estacada, the school district literally shoulders the entire burden of any type of youth or community event that occurs. We are all the ball fields. There's not a park out there that hosts youth activities, youth events. The school district engages in all of that. Also, we know that pickleball in our community is becoming more and more popular. If you drive in front of Estacada Middle School, you'll see people from age 40 to 70, droves of them playing pickleball in our community. We really want to be and maintain the central hub and the heartbeat of this community. And so this $10 million is allocated to making sure that we're improving our athletic surfaces, putting lights up to allow for more time for kids to play. Right now, all of our fields are maxed out each and every year. Youth football, youth soccer, youth basketball for gym space, youth baseball. We have record numbers and it's increasing every single year. And our fields are being overused. Of course, we're going to continue to let them be used, but they're just getting shredded. And this is an opportunity for us to increase and upgrade those spaces while still trying to do something that the community wishes. So in conclusion, before I just pause for any questions or thoughts, because I sure would love your questions, as I would just love for you to know more about what myself and the Estacada School Board has intentions on doing. I want to talk about how much does this cost. So if you look at the back page where it says costs, the bond would raise $149 million. The total price for $149 million is $3.55 per assessed value, not market value, assessed value, which is a drastically different thing. That is $2.38 more than what we are all paying today. We pay $1.17 per thousand today. But one of the things that I wanted to point out, just for a frame of reference, when the bond passed in the year 2000, the community voted yes on that, and that tax base was $2.19 per thousand. And that raised $25 million in the year 2000, okay? Over the course of time, as more people have moved into our community, like I told you at the beginning, we've doubled in size. The piece of that pie has gotten smaller for everybody. So what started at $2.19 has whittled its way down to each of us paying $1.17. So $1.02, it's gone down over the course of 25 years. It's also important to note that in the year 2000, $2.19 equated with inflation, and today's dollars equals $3.70. I don't know if I said that clear, like if you follow me on that, but what was $2.17 in 2000 is now worth $3.70 today. And so our ask of $3.55 is actually cheaper than the ask that was given to our community in the year 2000. But because we have so many more people, we're able to draw the revenues that we think is going to fix both problems, fixing our aging facilities while at the same time preparing for our future of whatever growth that is. And so I'm going to pause there just to see if there's any opportunities for questions, clarification. And then I just have one concluding statement.
I have a question. So basically then it was $2.19 per thousand of assessed, and that's gonna sunset.
Yes,
And
next
then you're
spring.
proposing this bond to replace that
That's correct.
at $2.38.
So it would be $3.55 is what it would replace, but that's $2.38 more than we pay today. So you pay,
Oh, so we would add that much more from the old bond.
correct, yeah, because you're currently today paying $1.17. This bond would be $3.55, which is $2.38 more than what you pay today. Per assessed value.
But then in 2025, that bond goes away.
Yeah, that bond goes away and it stays at $3.55.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
staying
so
at
$3.55 is the pass.
Well, one comment I have, I've been coming,
Yes,
that's for a lot of schools. 25 years ago, we started schools with different roof slopes and all these.
yes,
Gotta have, look like this, and
yes.
I appreciate the square rectangle story.
We
Keep it
want to keep
simple.
it simple, yes. And the other thing we've learned is we see these beautiful giant monstrosities of schools is every one of them has windows everywhere. And we've learned from that experience too, that those windows make things hot. They're inefficient. And by the way, when just that usual 16-year-old kid throws a Sprite way up there on top and it just splatters all over the window, like at times it takes a while for our custodial services to be able to address that. And so again, we really do want this to be practical. We know that our community is not looking for a Taj Mahal. We just want something that's going to make our kids competitive as they compete with other kids from other communities who do have these modern spaces. Yeah.
Why don't we use, I know Escada Web Academy is at Eagle Creek Elementary
Summit
School.
Charter, yes.
So charter school.
Yep.
And we're the hosting district and we get some rent revenue from that.
For sure.
But why don't we use that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's a question that frequently comes up. So first of all, Eagle Creek Elementary School is alive and well. I know you've served on the board, maybe you still do, but serve on the board for that. And Summit Learning Charter is the third largest charter school in the state of Oregon, and it is the #1 best achieving charter school. 10% of the kids who live inside our school district attend Summit Charter School, and the other 90% are kids from all over the state of Oregon. And if you were to drive by Eagle Creek on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the place is completely full to capacity as they come in to work with their teachers face to face and online. The reason why we want to keep Summit is because the Estacada School District profits $2 million a year, every single year. That $2 million profits, we literally put into our career technical education programs. So manufacturing, agriculture, auto mechanics, journalism, that's what we take that money to do, which allows us to offer more opportunities than other school districts our size. We get to compete with the big dogs because we have this additional $2 million. If we were to kick them out to open Eagle Creek Elementary School again, we would be walking away literally over the course of times from tens of millions of dollars, which ultimately could serve and support our kids. The second reason for Eagle Creek is as we think about the map of where the growth is coming, the growth is actually happening on the outskirts of the city of Estacada. It's not necessarily in Eagle Creek. And I will tell you that while it may seem to make fiscal sense to open up Eagle Creek and open that up, it is very unpopular with our parents because most people are in favor of opening up Eagle Creek until they learn that's where their kid's going. And then they're like, oh, that's a terrible idea. I love my community school. I love where I'm at. And so as we engage with our families, opening up Eagle Creek, actually, it's the best recipe for us to keep it where it's going. They've been great fiscal stewards of Eagle Creek. And to conclude about Eagle Creek, in today's world, education choice, where parents choose to send their kids for public education, is becoming greater and greater a competitive marketplace. And I'll be the first to admit, I'm a public education superintendent, although my values align more with Estacada's values. But when you read the national news, when you see what's going on in the newspaper, I'll be the first to admit that public education has lost its mind. And so parents are choosing to send their kids to other places. We get 20% of every kid who goes to Summit Charter. If they go here or if they live in Medford, the Estacada School District profits 20% on that. And while more parents or people who choose to homeschool or church groups who choose to like co-educate their kids, that's the menu that they're choosing. And so it's actually very innovative business sense for us to utilize Eagle Creek as a money-making opportunity that benefits Estacada's kids.
So let's make,
The septic tank is a thing. We would need to replace a septic. But if the community said like, throw that money away, we don't care about the charter or alternative opportunities, there would be some things we need to do, like repair the septic and other things. But in the scheme of 149 million, like if that was the option, we could definitely accommodate that. Yes.
so.
And I've been asked this question too, so that's why I asked.
Yeah, absolutely. I get asked it every time I have this conversation, and it's a legitimate question.
But you still maintain that building.
We own it. It's ours. It's our asset. Yep. And right now we're in a 10-year
So if you need to
contract.
do roof, you gotta put it in.
Yep. Well, we make them do it, but yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
so they,
They do it. Yep,
They
it's,
do
it's a part of our contract. So they've put about $1.8 million into that building to keep it looking great. And if you drove by it and looked at it, it looks beautiful. They've done a really nice job. They've been good stewards of that building. Yeah.
what's gonna happen with the old one?
Well, that's a different conversation. That thing is on its last legs and it's really a liability to the district, but it's a 50-50 call. I would say that it's probably best for us to take that down. But there are so many people who either attended that school back in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. And anytime I say those words, I have to update my resume because there are people who are very in love with that school. But that's a tricky conversation.
Isn't that school where you got your start out here?
I started as the social studies teacher at Estacada High School was where I started 14 years ago.
So this new facility, is that gonna include new manufacturing, new wood shop, new automotive?
Correct.
All that, okay.
Yep, all of that. Yep. And hopefully industry standard space. And the thing that, as you know, because you've been in there a million times,
Yeah.
like just our electrical
Oh, yeah.
capacity can't handle industry standard stuff. And so we're pumping out welders, but that doesn't do anything for today's world. We're pumping out hobby auto mechanic guys right now, like they could do some hobby stuff, but we're not sending anyone to the Westons or to Beaverton Toyota.
Yeah.
And the same, and having upgraded facilities would allow us to be able to compete with other school districts who are passing bonds, who are doing this.
There's clearly a disconnect of what's there and what the real world is today.
Absolutely, and our kids are at a serious disadvantage.
Yeah.
Ryan, I got a question
Yes,
and
sir.
a comment. It looks like you intend with these building safety and needs, are all the buildings, even the current ones, that if they're not sprinklered, are they gonna be sprinklered fire protection buildings?
Yes, yep,
Good.
yep, they are. And we got a grant and we're still applying for grants to try to offset some of these things that we need. But in the grant that we got that re-roofed the old historic auditorium and the gymnasium on the other side, inside that grant, we completely sprinklered the 1928 middle school. So that one is done and good to go. Yep,
My comment is back to the original Eagle Creek School.
yes,
I know people's feelings about that. I'm one of those that it should go. Because quite a few years back, they tried to get a committee together to restore that building. And the community didn't come out.
yes.
There was not enough support for it.
Correct. And I imagine we're afraid to take it down too because of how expensive we think it's gonna be. I imagine the materials inside of that are gonna be rough. But if for some reason the fire department were to be interested in some practice opportunities, the district would listen to that idea.
Gotta run a state.
If there's any asbestos inside the school district, you have to go in there and clean all that out of there first.
I would imagine so. Yep, I would.
Thank you
imagine so.
for answering my question.
Yeah, that's my pleasure. That's what I'm here to do tonight, because at the end, I'm not asking you to vote yes or no. I'm not asking your support, but what I am trying to hope to do today is just to make sure that everyone has all the factual information so that you can make an informed decision. But if someone else comes up to you with an opinion, a comment, or a thought, at least you have a fighting chance in hearing from my voice where these things are gonna make a difference. So in my concluding statement, I just have two things. One, Mr. Oliver, like you said, you're in the construction industry. Like the construction world right now is getting more expensive and more expensive. And the truth of the matter is, this is out of our children's control. This is out of our employees and our teachers' control. Like at some point with the growth and the way that our facilities are in their current state, which we work hard to maintain, but the way that they are right now, like it's only going to get more and more expensive. We built the Clackamas River Elementary School for $25 million. The cheapest we can build a high school right now is for $114 million. This $149 million is a truly mindful request to fix everything now and prepare for the future. And we'll leave everybody alone again for the next 30 years, just like we did in the last 2000 bond, 2000. And now that's about to come up and it's time to reinvest in our schools again. But my worry is if we're not successful in this, then either myself or the person who follows me is going to come to the community and the next ask is going to be 220 million. And then it's going to be 280 million. Like that escalation is going to continue and there's nothing we can do about that. And so I do believe that this fix everything and fix it once approach is really the best bang for our buck. The second thing and the final thing that I do want to say is this is a conversation that we need to just honestly have as a community. At some point, we're going to have to reinvest in our schools. Our community in 1920s during the Depression made a decision to build Estacada Middle School for its kids there. In 1958, this community decided to build a brand new high school for people like, and I see people in here that probably graduated from Estacada High School during that time where the people supported that in the building of that high school. In the year 2000, our community decided it was time to tear down the falling apart Estacada Grade School and build Clackamas River. And we know that that wasn't the best job that was done. I've heard over and over again that that group wasn't transparent. They didn't fulfill everything that was promised. And here's what I can tell you. There is not one person who was a part of that 2000 bond that works in this school district today. This is a new group of leaders. This is a new group of people who are devoted to making sure that our children have the best opportunities to compete. All I'm talking about is competing. Our kids are at a disadvantage right now with the facilities that they have, and they're struggling to compete with other kids from other communities that have these facilities. And I know that you know that as well. But at the end of the day, this is an opportunity for us to set ourselves up for the next 30 years. And we have no control over the growth. We have no control. The secret to Estacada is out, and people are moving here because they love it just like we do. The reason why I'm here today and why I was at the Moose Club last night and why I'm going to anybody's living room that will listen to me with a group of people is that we can still control our mission, vision, and values of this change right now. If it could be too late and the change could start to control us, but I believe in Estacada's values, and I think and I hope that people will join me in being a leader, a community leader, and ensuring that these schools continue to reflect Estacada before we lose control of what that was. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. You guys are awesome. Yeah.
When are you gonna go out for a bond?
So great question. In April, we pulled this with a third-party polling company, and 49% of registered voters were in support of this package. But we want to make sure that go for a bond, it's something we know has a good chance to win. So we've been working hard to communicate with everybody about this package, and we're going to measure it again in 2 weeks with the same third-party polling service. Our hope is to get it to 55%. If it's a 55%, we're going to go this spring. If it's at 51%, 50%, we'll probably wait until the next fall. But presidential elections make me really nervous because people come out of the work on both sides. And that makes it really tough. But we're hoping just to move this thing 6 points. That's why I'm here today. And so then after that, we'll know if we're going either this spring or next fall or never. We'll just watch our buildings fall down and I just stack portable after portable after portable in the parking lots until it happens. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Got a presentation for us? A lot of books there. That's right.
Thank you, Director Miller. So I was asked to do a presentation tonight regarding the volunteer program assessment presentation. And what I wanted to cover was essentially my first 90 days. In the first 90 days, my responsibility will continue to be recruitment, retention, and training. And so the focuses I've been putting on are getting systems into place so that as we go forward, we know what we're doing, we're making smart decisions, and we're bringing people into a very healthy organization. So this is going to be bullet pointed so we can work through it. And I want to encourage you to come and visit me if you'd like to go into the details of the plans. The details are where the good stuff lies. So going into it, there's been a complete digitization of all training files for all members. So in other words, every single member of this organization, their training files are now digitized, they're organized, they're in a Dropbox file. And so for our folks that are coming or going, we always have a system that's going to make sure that we can track their progress, make sure that we can facilitate their success better, and we always know where they're standing. That process has been done. All members that were waiting on DPSST certifications are now 100% caught up. And so there's no bottleneck. If somebody is waiting on a certification, it's usually because we're waiting on some background check or something else, but it's not, they're not waiting on us. We have a brand new orientation manual. So thinking forward, when we open up the gates and we start bringing on new members, it's critical that we have the absolute very best intake system and the very best onboarding system so we can welcome people into a professional organization. Doing that requires having systems in place, and we're working on those right now. We do have a new orientation manual. We have a new retention guide. I think you're going to hear that majority of my focus going forward is on retention. We should not be recruiting until we have mastered retention. That is the healthiest thing for an organization to do, is master retention, create value for our folks, create a positive environment, and then look for opportunities to grow. We have a new Estacada Fire Family Guide. So if our new members are interested in joining this organization, I want them to be able to bring this information home to their family so they can have a conversation of what it looks like to become a volunteer firefighter. It's a big commitment, it's a big ask, and we need to make sure that people are making the right decisions. So we're not getting them for 6 months to 12 months. We want them for the long haul, and we have to make sure their family's aware of it so they come into a healthy environment. We have a brand new recruitment retention manual. So it's about 130 pages and outlines the entire process for someone joining this organization, the values, and how we see things moving forward. There's a new Estacada Fire Corps guide to providing rehab. I've sat in a couple meetings and was able to provide some guidance on a little bit of structure for the group. So that group can now respond as they continue to grow and get better, start to respond to incidents and be able to provide value added on every call. We're still working on it. We got room to go, but we're making some progress and we're seeing some great things. There is a summarization of a legislative study. So in 2017, before COVID hit, a legislative study did a survey among all the rural fire departments in the state of Oregon. That study asks questions between the firefighters, fire chief administration. Those survey results started to come back in 19, they got paused, they picked it up again, and they just delivered the results this last November. Some of the information there you'll see is from myself from different departments and the statewide level. That legislative study is now published, and that's a part of the packet. I've completed the Estacada Fire Needs Analysis with FTE equivalents. The importance of a needs analysis, understanding exactly how our organization is doing, what our needs are operationally, and what our needs are support. So this is what's really important about this is that when we recruit, we need to recruit strategically. We need to recruit for people that are filling the organization that are doing the needs that we have currently. We also have to consider things like span of control. We have to consider things like, do we have room? We have to look at those things to make sure that we're bringing people into an environment where they can add value and we can support them. The needs analysis took about 90 days, and I've had a chance to review it with the fire chief, and it gets to change. It's a needs analysis, and you know what? The day you finish it, it's already old. And so it requires updates, it requires management. And so now we have a place where we understand where we're at. That's exciting. This is something that I'm very excited about. So now we have a starting point to move forward. We've completed 4 department surveys, asking our members questions about their perceptions on how we do things and their perceptions on their feelings of the organization and where we can do better. And we also did a climate study. The climate study is a little bit different. Climate study finds out it's 47 questions, and it really gets down to the details of how are we doing in specific things. These climate studies, we do them every quarter now. And this allows us to really understand, are we doing the right things? Are we making good decisions? Are we working towards retention goals that keep our people engaged and happy? And so we have the first one done. We have the 2023-24 Estacada Fire Training Plan with self-audit is now complete. And we have the 2023-24 training calendar. So that is now ready to go. It's done. It's been published. There is near completion of a new member rookie book and career academy schedule. So when our new members join the organization, they have a book that walks them through what their expectations are, how to get there, and it walks them through all the checkoffs. Been working with Mike Platts for tower inspection and had a couple conversations for floor repair. Recently, Chief and I participated in the ESO training in Seattle. ESO is our software that we use to control our calls and get our statistics from. And this information, as we move forward, will be used to help us understand our response times and making sure that we have the right amount of people and equipment so that when we recruit, we're recruiting for the right needs. Working on planning the annual Christmas party. That's coming along good. Working on an officer development plan for new lieutenants. All of our Estacada fire members now have new department emails. So one of the things I wanted to be able to communicate was increasing that flow up and down. And so now all of our members have the estacadafire.org email. That has increased our communication and will only get better. We started a water tender only academy. The book portion is complete. Hands-on is coming. EMR class has been started. We've recruited 1 PIO, 1 fire marshal, and 2 students. I've completed my annual goals to the fire chief. We've conducted nearly 100 hours of member interviews. Those member interviews have been done to understand, again, the needs of the organization and to help me understand what we need to do to go forward. For the training side, we've ordered a new smoke machine, rescue dummy, and a couple other items for the department like lawnmower and lights. I'm working with DPSST to build a car fire prop and other training opportunities. And those are the majority of the items that link to the volunteer program assessment presentation. I want to make sure that you understand I can bullet point to get right to the point of it. And I want to encourage you, if you'd like to see what these things look like, please visit me. I've got the binders there because they're a tool and I need to use them so we can do the job going forward. But if you'd like to learn more and you want to sit down and see it, please do. I'd love to sit down with you and share it with you. And then on a personal note, since I've been here, I just completed my master's program in public administration, so that is done. I'll be teaching the upcoming OFDDA board conference in Newport in November. So I don't know how many folks will be there, but I'll be in the very last class teaching that. I know Director Miller.
You mean
will be there.
Seaside?
Seaside.
Yeah, there you go. I was like,
I'll go to the
am I going to the wrong place?
No, that's me. But I hope to see you there if you can make it.
Yeah, I'll be there.
We'll be teaching at FDIC in Indianapolis in April. And we'll also be teaching in Florida coming up in November. So that's what's been going on in the last 90 days. Again, it's a start, but it's a start of what I'm hoping is going to be some good direction for us and making good decisions, spending the money wisely and bringing in the right people for the job.
I view you as a valuable spoke in the wheel. I can definitely see the value added that you bring to us. And thank you.
Thank you.
So you had mentioned something about recruitment and the fire marshal. Don't we already have a fire marshal?
Yeah, she needs some help. And so,
okay, additional.
yeah,
Okay, because I was thinking you're replacing the fire marshal already.
No,
We
no.
didn't kick you along.
Volunteer that is working with her.
Okay, now that makes sense.
Basically Inspector level.
Okay, inspector, yeah.
yeah. Help share the load and it also brings in, hopefully some talent for the future for us that helps expand our abilities to provide those services. Yeah.
Great.
If there's no other questions tonight, I'll wrap up. Thank you again for having me be here and for the opportunity. I have the books and I would love to share them with you. If you want that time, just please let me know. Thank you.
I start moving more.
Board policy review. So you guys have the 4 policies from last month's meeting in front of you. I don't think I got any other feedback since the last meeting. I don't have any new ones to present this meeting. So the 4 that are there would just need to be formally adopted by the board tonight. And we'll add them to the list and keep moving forward unless there's additional.
No, there was just that one change, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Okay, we just need consensus, right?
You need a formal adoption.
I would like to make a motion that we adopt the vehicle use policy as presented to us. Adopted today, 10/19/23.
There's an error in one of them. There's an error. All vehicles owned by district shall have outside identification indicating it is the property of South Wayne County Fire and Rescue.
Oh, that didn't get removed.
I did remove that, but somebody printed the wrong.
I can change it.
So we can approve the other ones, can't we?
Yeah, you can approve that one with the saying that it's just.
Yes.
Change that together.
So I'll amend my motion of number 2. Change and replace the South Wayne County Fire and Rescue with our own branding.
Second.
Thank you, Matt.
Call for the vote then. I was hoping you'd make a motion on all of them.
Okay, and adopt the Oregon Ethics Law Policy adopted, revised 10/19 of 23. That's that one. And then the, adopt the board policy manual, reviewed on 10/19 of 23. And then there's one more, right?
Fraud, yeah.
Yeah, and adopt the fraud policy adopted 10/19 of 23.
You second them all?
Thank you.
You seconded it?
All the
Matt?
way.
I didn't hear him, sorry. So I got a motion from Director Silva and a second from Director Day. Call for the vote. Director Oliver,
Yes.
Director McAdoo, Director Day,
Yes.
Director Silva.
Yes.
And Director Miller is a yes. You'll print new ones and then we'll get that, okay,
Disregard that one.
okay.
So yeah, the binders you guys have with all the policies in it, then she'll get you a new copy to
Yeah.
replace the one that are there.
B4, US Bank Positive Pay and ACH implementation.
So that's still there on the agenda. I don't know if there's any movement with US Bank Positive Pay, or we were looking into e-bank as an option, or where that's
I got the official back from Key Bank yet,
okay.
but the manager at Key Bank made the same statement to me that both two people at US Bank, we cannot get rid of positive pay for writing checks, period. Don't do it. You open yourself up to exposure if we get rid of positive pay for checks.
Let me just ask a question. Who here is against going to ACH?
Good, going to ACA,
Okay.
but we're still gonna have to write that.
Yes, we absolutely are. We're not really gonna take ACH. So tonight, before I came down here and I talked to Chief a little bit about this, I find it very odd that there's nothing in our policy about how we pay the bills, the process of paying the bills, looking at the purchase order, looking at the bill, making sure numbers aren't transposed, any of that stuff. So since we've had the ACH discussion since day one, the first thing that's gone through my mind is, okay, what is gonna be the process for doing that? You know, because it's gonna be replacing, you know, the majority of the checks. I find it very odd that it's not in our policy. You know, when I came on board here, I go to sign checks and it's like, well, nobody's explained to me how or what the process is. So I had to take what I knew from business to apply that. And then we've changed stuff, you know, from the auditors,
Yeah.
whatnot. I really think there should be something in our policy about it, especially going to this ACH side of things. You know, we talked about having to look at the approvals, the next board meeting, you know, to make sure that they match up with the bank statements and everything. So,
Even if we did have a policy, we'd need to update it.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think there's one that exists, so it'd be like procedure.
Yeah,
Procedure for approving the bill, is what it
Absolutely.
comes down to.
Yeah.
So the other financial policies that we've done have all been basically the auditor saying, you need to.
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
was the push. But this would be different yet, and that would outline basically what you guys are doing now,
yes.
but it would lay it out. So this is what it is. And I think it's a good idea. I like where it's going.
I'm starting to get my head around things that we can put into policy is gonna be around 5, 10, 15 years from now. So the board members that we're not here, John may still be here, who knows that. You know, they're not having to reinvent the wheel. They can change the policy if they want, just like we can change the policy, but it's already there. There's already a foundation. So I don't want to get into having a policy for everything, but I feel it's valuable that we have a policy for that.
I thought we had a policy, we changed in 2006, I think, but you never found anything, huh, Chief?
On just that,
Yeah,
Procedure?
because after that embezzlement, we changed a lot of things.
yeah, I think
And we
the
did a
only,
policy, I thought.
the financial policies that we have, you've seen them all. That's what
Yeah,
we got.
yeah.
Okay,
At
I
least
know.
that's what I've found, and after this long, it's, if it's there, I don't know where to find it.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things came out of that, and I think there was a policy done, but I think if it's, you can't find it, it's been lost.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean-
I should have dug it up somewhere by now, but
Right.
we've gone through, like I say, we've gone through all those financial policies. Because auditors obviously want that stuff as well, and that's where a lot of the change has come from. Is because of what's been pointed out.
And
there
that's
to make
what-
it current.
And you can only imagine what our audit was like after the embezzlement.
And probably what followed for years after, so.
Yeah.
And even if you did find it now, that was 2006, it really need to be updated.
Sure.
And be working on 20 years, yeah.
That's right.
So this is our third board meeting that we've had the discussion ACH. So I'm questioning when rubber's gonna meet the road. So I kind of think that Nikki and Chief need a decision from us if we're going that direction.
Yeah, because I don't believe we can just do it. It's
Yeah,
one of those
yeah,
that requires the board to say, yeah, we're gonna go that way.
There was a thought that kind of went through my mind a little bit, and I don't know if there's value in it or not, was to see if we can get Nikki to, give us a list of what she would transfer to ACH.
To some extent, we do that now with some of the utilities.
Yes,
yeah,
I see,
it's
yeah,
not-
absolutely,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
it's the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But, every one of these checks we write to vendors, not employees per se, like a reimbursement or something, but any of these checks to vendors, you need to check with that vendor to see if they accept ACH.
absolutely, and I'm curious to
I'm
see
okay
how many do,
Yeah,
because we've run into that.
yeah, because you'll write, you might, if there's 20 of them, we're writing 20 checks a month to vendors, you might get 18 to do it and 2 that don't. But
So I would like to get that policy in place before we go to ACH. Is that gonna be a big strain on you?
No,
Yeah, I
Not at all.
mean, we can discuss it and just email it out to what it looks like, cause I kind of had an idea I've talked to you about and talked to, you about too, so. So why don't we see if we can get a policy together for the next board meeting? And then actually put the ACH to a vote next board meeting.
And it's not just a ACH policy, it's going to be a basic, policy that's gonna,
just gonna
how we
include.
pay our.
Yes, it's gonna cover both ways, the way we do it now and the ACH.
It actually works out well to do it that way. If we do policy, bring it to November meeting. And even if we just didn't want to do it at the November meeting, wait till December, we could implement it the first of the year.
I just, I see what Nikki's going through to get that stuff paid and it's very inefficient.
Yeah,
We can get rid of 50% of that, we get rid of 50% of her inefficiency and probably frustration. So,
We've come a long ways with how we process checks and reimbursements and all that, and made huge strides that way.
yeah,
And I think this is just another step in that process.
I'll dig into key bank a little more too, to see what, just to try and get something from their system.
yeah.
Doesn't hurt
How
to
their
shop,
system works.
and
Yeah.
I mean,
out there.
I know US banks. ACH for checks.
That
is very
workaround-
clunky, It's ugly, it's,
That workaround was
my
horrible.
bookkeeper tried to do the things with the spreadsheet and
Yeah.
pull their hair out and
Yeah.
forget it, it's tough to do.
I'm gonna, go ahead, John.
My question, like you brought up, those checks are gonna be automatically paid before we see them?
No.
No,
Oh,
No,
okay.
we're gonna see them first. So the process that I have in my head, which I haven't gotten all the way there yet,
That's what I want cleared up.
is that we will see them before they're paid.
Okay,
We'll approve paying them just like we approve a check.
okay,
And then we'll look at the bank statements to make sure that it all went through.
okay.
Because if we're bringing an element of another party, a different way, the banking system in. So I feel that the people that, approve check signings, I'm gonna call it check signing, the ACHs. We need to look at that next go around on the bank statement to make sure that it actually went that way.
Okay, that clears it up, and we were kind of doing that already
right.
with some auto pays.
Yeah.
But it's good, sometimes we had a question on a check and we didn't sign it, then we got to the meeting and got to explain what was.
It'd be the same thing, you would just flag that. Some way or another, make yourself a note or whatever, just like you do now. And ask the question here or say, we're gonna hold off till next month or whatever.
So some of these auto pays are actually getting paid before we approve them because they're auto pays, correct? Or every single
the ones
bill
that
we
are-
pay.
The
come
ones
out.
that are going out before you approve them here are like business, like keep the lights on.
Utilities.
Energy,
That's
garbage,
better, yeah.
city, yeah.
There's the ones that we can't avoid, like payroll and stuff. I can't.
Yeah.
Those agents, but
So that should be included in your policy,
Right,
because how,
Yeah.
some bills will.
yeah,
Be
exactly.
certain types of bills are gonna get, some will get paid before we actually approve them, but they're all pay, they're this, you know.
But it should outline what those are.
Yes, it is.
And that
should.
yeah,
that helps
asking
narrow it down.
invoices before getting. the
Right.
results.
I was looking in the policies and it said, bills had to be submitted by what was it, the second Thursday of each month, to be able to get, paid and whatnot. And so probably refer back to some of that too.
Mhm.
Nikki, I have to ask, do you have anything to add about that idea of next month with the policy and then approval of next month? Okay, you're okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that, something else popped in my head. We used to meet on the second Thursday. But the reason we changed it, some of the bills weren't in. And we met on Thursday. If we go to this ACH. Could we meet on the second Thursday instead of the third? Just throwing that out.
No, because you still have, not everything's gonna be able to be paid by ACH. So. If you want, we can meet every fifth Thursday of the month.
I would.
You believe our system we have, Thursday works well with your paying bills?
Yeah, I don't think it has a whole lot of bearing on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
just
Because
curious,
you
I
could-
mean, I was going.
because really you
what
could-
John was saying.
You can adjust it either side, to where it would fit. So I think that's gonna make much difference that way.
Just throw that out because that's why I removed it. Some invoices weren't coming in until after that second.
Yeah. I mean, it's like anything else. If we get a bill that needs to be paid, we're gonna call you guys up and say, hey, this is where we're at, but
Sure.
it should be far in between.
So that's what we're gonna work toward.
Good.
What's bill 2805, public meeting law?
Yeah, this is fast becoming a hot topic in particularly local government, special districts, small districts. Went to training, Sarah went with me down in Salem that SDAO put on, and it was more about board members and new board members and how to conduct business and all that. But I was hoping he was gonna talk more about 2805. George Dunkel did the class. And unfortunately, he didn't have a lot. He said there's still a lot of interpretation on the bill going on. They're hoping that they'll actually have formal training by December. You'll probably see something about it when you guys are at the OFDDA conference. I would expect they'll have some more
Yeah.
information, but he wasn't really expecting a full, here it is by then. So probably look for more in December, and then we'll probably go crazy with the training, but just a summary of it. With this, it's basically everybody must complete, board members must complete training, a verified training session at least once during their term. So at some point you have to go to one of those. It sounds like they'll probably have some virtual options available. And it's any member of an organization with expenditures of $1 million or more. There's ethics oversight. Person who believes a governing body has committed a violation, they file a complaint with the public body. The violation has to be stated from who and for what reason and within 30 days of occurrence. So if somebody wants to make a complaint, they can't do it 6 months from now. What happened this month or something along those lines. The violation or supposed violation has to come here first. And from there, the board would have to do a written response to that person within 21 days. And if they don't like the response, it automatically goes to ethics, but either way, the response that was sent would have to be sent to the ethics commission. If there's no response, then that creates other problems. Basically it's I don't know, it's allowing the public to make a complaint without being a civil issue. It goes to an actual Oregon ethics commission now.
That seems fair. I mean, if somebody's unhappy, they bring it to us and respond to
Yeah,
it.
at least the process is laid out. There's a time frame. It's now, it's not way down the road. And you guys gotta see first. They can't just decide they're up and send it over there. It comes here first. There has to be some kind of response.
Chain of command.
Pretty much. There are civil penalties now that could be in there. So if you really did screw up, you could pay up to $1,000.
But they're probably gonna issue a warning first, and then it'll go from there type of thing. So what else was there? If the ethics commission gets it, they got 2 days to respond, so they can't hang on to it for any real length of time either. Now, if there's some sort of civil suit pending as a result of all of this, then this whole thing is thrown out. It all falls back on whatever civil suit is filed, and the courts can do their thing. Ethics commission could pick it up afterwards, but they're probably gonna fall back on whatever happens in a civil hearing. Their investigation on their end can't take more than 180 days. None of it is public record until after a finding is completed, so if the ethics commission is doing their investigation, it's not released. Once it's done, if it's dismissed or whatever happens, then it's public record. And then if the ethics commission gets it, they take no action, that's considered dismissal. So if time comes and expires, we don't hear anything about it, that's sort of thing. And then, like I said, lawyers are still interpreting the new law, so more to come. And look for more training in December, maybe ERFD.
Any questions? 26, budget amendment resolution.
So we're proposing a budget amendment for this fiscal year. And part of that has to do with our most recent audit and our grant revenue and how we put that in the budget. We're also asking to take $400,000 from our capital, future capital expense line item, which is currently not allocated, and put that into professional services for the sake of the RFP for the station. Now, whether or not we're gonna get that project done in this fiscal year, that still remains to be seen, but where we need to do an amendment anyways. Asking to do that now, and I say now, meaning next month, because we have to publish this in the newspaper over the next month, but I think it was good to get it here, get it on the table, see if there's any discussion. And from there, I think you probably have more answers to the questions than I would, so.
Anybody have any questions?
So I just want to clarify one thing. When you said RFP, that's for the architecture of the
Architecture, right?
Okay, so I didn't hear that part, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I probably didn't say it.
You may have, but I just didn't.
Was it?
400
Did you want to move?
from our capital reserve, future capital expense to professional service. 400,000. I think that's gonna be more than what we need, but I'm still unsure what that's gonna look like.
Just for the architect?
Yeah.
Doesn't leave any money for building.
Have we got any estimates from the architect?
Just trying to reach out and see what's out there, what's available. I mean, nothing official, of course, because we're not that far, but
We're having a meeting, Chief and Tom Benstoder and I next week, going over the RFP to be released. You know, what that criteria looks like. I think
Should we
that's,
wait to do the budget change until we get to our? Until we get some pricing?
well, we have to do the amendment already.
he's
So we
adding-
can do it,
he's adding
we can
this
do,
on.
we can do another amendment if you want, but either way, we need to do one sooner than later.
You gotta have money ready to go, sure.
We don't
Gotta
have,
have the funds ready.
it's one of those where we're not spending the money, but we have that ability. Because this board is gonna have to approve it no matter what.
So John, Matthew, do you guys recall what the cost of that was in 2012 to get that done?
5 million.
No,
Oh,
the architecture
oh,
side.
no, I couldn't tell you. I just knew the overall bid.
I think they hired. What,
Each-
McKinsey?
No, it's HGE.
Oh, that group can do us.
I think it's HGE, maybe HGI.
HGE.
HGE, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just remember the bond was 5 million.
Yeah.
So either way, we can't do anything with that at this meeting.
So, yeah, other than
It's
just,
something that we'll bring back at the next one for, well, we'll actually have the resolution. We'll have it on paper at that point for what that looks like.
Yeah.
But we do need to advertise the paper before then and do process. Okay.
Okay.
surplus property, generator and water tender.
Yeah, so the,
They're not yet, that's.
Oh.
It's gotta be posted.
We're just
in-
talking about it.
Discussion.
Yeah, we're just discussing. So you don't just all of a sudden hear, vote on this kid.
Yeah, we don't get to do it that.
Okay.
Yeah, surplus property, our new generator is not here, but it's coming quickly. It does turn out that generator does belong to the district. It is not PEP. Joe was able to figure that out rather quickly. We thought it was federal excess property, through the state, but it is not, so. That will become excess property. The board needs to declare that as such, and then, our tender is gonna be here tomorrow. New one is, and as such,
Are you sure?
yes.
Keep coming down and look at it.
No, it'll be here tomorrow, and, yeah, just in time for the open house.
Yeah.
So the generator would be surplus property. We would do, go on gov deals, do the bidding sale process. And then the water tender, we're proposing that we, give that to, Colton. But I would need to draw paperwork to do that. And, like I said, I'm proposing we just give that to them. But, it's up to this group if that's what you want to do. Either way, I would need the board to say, yes, it is surplus property, and then we can start process, and I'll have to bring back paperwork for the water tender if everybody's.
I concur that tanker would probably, a water tanker, I'm old school. It would probably be there in the Elwood station. And it would probably be available to us whenever we need it, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's the intent, is that it's there. Bolton has it, they'll use it, it's at that Elwood station, and it comes this way. And it's still serving us, but it's just under a different ownership.
I've had a lot of questions go through my mind about that tender, and the one thing that kind of steered me in a direction was that if we ever had an incident like 2020 again, we wouldn't have enough people to put in all the equipment we have as it is. So it would be nice if there was some sort of tender up in George. You know, whether that happens or not, I don't know. I did have a conversation with a volunteer that I know at Colton, and I said, hey, what does this mean to your organization? He goes, it's huge. So he really feels it's huge, as an asset to them.
We have a water tender up in Georgia. It's on your property. What are you talking about? What are they talking about that?
So yeah, I don't know, you know, on those outlying areas, having those water resources is critical.
Our current road fire up here before the 4th of July, Bolton was up here, I think.
Yeah.
It might have been second
And,
tender.
and that's the thing too, they're gonna show up with it.
Yeah.
You know, with manpower to man it, so.
Yeah, the tender they have, I think they've got one from Clackamas, and technically it's on loan.
Yeah.
Not actually theirs.
That's what happened.
It's just one of those things they struggle with, so it's a huge asset for them, but still, it kind of stays in our system and benefits us for sure, so.
That size tender is rather Chief Gary from their alley, they had those size of tenders that can be.
Yeah, it's reliable, it'll get out the door, and it's got plenty of service life in it.
So you need us to declare it as surplus.
I need you to declare the generator and the water tender as surplus.
So I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to surplus.
I'll second.
Generator.
Got a motion from Director Oliver and a second from Director McAdoo. We'll call for the vote, Director Day,
Yes.
Director Silva,
Yes.
Director Oliver.
Yes.
Director McAdoo. And Director Miller is a yes. So you're gonna draw up paperwork.
Yeah, I need to get together with him and,
Yeah.
we'll put something together. It may not be the next meeting, it might be 2 or 3 months out, but I want to get that ball rolling.
We're gonna have to discuss that whole generator because I'm gonna lift the old one out of there. Where is it going to where it can be loaded and how and all that? So I just wanna make sure. there's
I'm
no-
thinking it's probably gonna stay right up there.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I don't see any reason to bring it down here.
The issue with that is if somebody buys it, how are we gonna load it up there? I'm gonna have to go back up there with a forklift?
It's up to them.
Okay, okay. We're all done with that, right?
How much is
Does
that?
it?
How much is that generator weigh?
4,600 pounds. Dick told me it was 49. Oh, no way. And I went up and read the tag. It says 4,600 dry weight. So with oil and fuel and antifreeze, I'm sure that that's more than that.
5,000.
Yeah.
So you'd be maxing a 5,000 pound portable. If you were to borrow,
Oh,
you'd be maxing it.
Demand to bargain from IAFF 1159.
Yeah, so you got a copy of the official demand bargain from the union. They're in the third year of their contract. It expires on June 30th of 2024. So at this point, this is just here's your notice, and probably at the November meeting, we should have an executive session to discuss where we want to see things go.
Are you and Ken gonna take the reins on this year?
That's up to you guys, but that would be my proposal.
Okay,
I'm good with that.
I'm very happy with, and the career people are happy. I mean, so.
I think we tossed this around, last month and we decided to leave it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think that's what we decided. Unofficially, but we said, yeah, let's just keep it the same.
So yeah, nothing else you guys need to do with it tonight. It's just,
Yeah,
I
just
I need
notice.
to formally serve the board that here it is. So that's what you got.
Staff reports, chief's report.
Fortunately, Chief Alto did most of it, so. We had 159 calls in September, so it was a little busier month. It was 1,229 for the year to date, is September 30th. We got new MVCs installed on the older brush rig and engine 333. We got our BK radios that we got through grants, so they're all programmed now. We had our annual service completed on the SCBA compressor. Recruit volunteer firefighter Billy Camp was volunteer of the month. We were in the homecoming parade. We did have a couple of exciting items in the world of prevention and inspection. We don't see a whole lot of these, but we did a cease and desist for an industrial building down here in the park for an occupant that was living in one of those buildings and it was under construction. And then we found the school district was locking the gates under the grandstand during the football games, which you cannot do. That's a big no-no. So that stirred the pot with the school district a little bit.
Heard the school district guy wasn't happy.
He wasn't happy at all, but neither was I, so.
Did you send him in the company?
We thought about it. Matt talked a little bit about the new, the fire prevention intern inspector, Mark Johnson, and he's been here doing a bunch of stuff with Sarah. You'll start seeing him do more with inspections. He's here a couple days a month. The annual audit was completed, so we'll probably see that report before too long, and usually the December meeting, I think it comes back here. Let's see, we've got automatic budget reports come to chief officers every month, so they can't say they don't know what the budget looks like. The annual budget was submitted to the county clerk and on time. And we had our firefighter, EMT and paramedic assessment center. This is to fill the two positions that are going to be vacant when two people go to Clackamas. We had 16 candidates go through the process. We had 20 we invited, 4 bailed out at the last minute, so we did 16, which was still a good number. And ultimately we offered Jen Purcell, the firefighter EMT position. She's been working as a seasonal firefighter for the last 2 years. And Kendra Kavanaugh, who is a volunteer and works for Marion County as the firefighter paramedic. So we're hoping to bring them on in February-ish. Dates and all that stuff are still being worked out. But we had a good pool. Applicant pool was great. And so we have people on that list. So assuming they don't all get hired before we have another opening, we look good down the road. Fire district open house is Saturday. Come by 10 to 2. Should be busy, should be fun. They're a really cool prop that Christian and Tyler and a couple other guys worked on out there for the kids to shoot water at, and it's got little twirly flames on it, and it looks really cool. It's huge, but it is a really neat prop. So good. I like it.
Finance report?
Finance are as presented in your board packets, with no changes.
Okay. Any questions? No? Public comments? Go ahead.
My wife's been trying to get on and she can't even get on.
That's because we banned you guys. Just kidding.
Never watching it.
Really?
Tried everything that it says to do. So that's on board. Other people are having that trouble.
For people.
That's gonna be
Tyler was up, Troutman was up there.
I think she's doing something wrong.
Maybe it's just our connects problem.
We're gonna get blamed from the school district.
Oh, really?
Stop by and I can help her.
Board comments? Any board comments? We're moving right along, aren't we?
I would like to say, thanks to the chief, staff. It's obvious you guys do a lot of work to get us where we're at when we come to these meetings. I know the whole board would feel the same as I do,
Oh,
I'm
you
sure. Yeah.
I would like to say to Alpha, I've been hearing a lot of positive things from people around the station, so.
How much money is that costing you to pay them off?
I'm gonna say it's expensive, but
I've heard nothing but good things.
Good
That's
staff.
nice.
Yeah.
Correspondence?
it's at the back of your packet. Yeah, like I said, we print out the Facebook stuff. Yeah.
How are you guys doing with now the, it's what, Thursday night lights instead of
Yeah,
Friday?
sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but no, still doing that. I think next week is the last home game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the Shirley and I for years like to go to those home games. And they put a couple of them on Thursdays and we missed it, we forgot about it.
I think next week is Friday.
Yes, it is.
The only community item I'm aware of is the fire district open house Saturday, October 21st.
Brought that up.
Yep. I guess we're all done. Our next meeting will be, November 16th, 2023 at 6 p.m.
Mm.
And we're adjourned.
Good.
So.
A lot of